When you think gorilla, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably a giant, powerful, chest-beating king of the jungle, right? Well, get ready because we're about to flip that entire image on its head and dive into the secret social lives of these incredible animals.
Yeah, this is the image we all know, the one that's been burned into our brains. Brute force, absolute power, a solitary king ruling his domain with an iron fist. It's that classic King Kong stereotype, just this huge, fearsome, and totally isolated monster.
But what if that whole dramatic picture just completely misses the point? What if the reality of gorilla life is way more interesting, far more complex, and honestly, a lot more relatable than we ever thought possible? Okay, so to get to the truth, first we have to really unpack this powerful myth that's been shaping how we see gorillas for, like, over a century. You see it everywhere, this idea of the lone aggressive silverback. We think of him as this simple tyrant whose entire life is just about dominating everyone and everything around him. But here's the kicker about gorillas. They are almost never alone.
So if they aren't loners, what's the real story? Well, the true story of a gorilla isn't one of solitude at all. It's the story of the family.
The heart of gorilla life is something called the troop. And it's not just some random group of animals hanging out. It is a stable family held together by really deep, long-term social bonds. And notice that detail right there, non-territorial. That's huge. They're defending each other, their family, not some random patch of jungle. And these families have a really fascinating structure. It's not just one big guy and his harem. Nope. You've got the lead silverback, sure, but there are often other adult males, too, subordinates or slightly younger blackbacks. Then you add in a few adult females and a whole bunch of kids and babies. It's a real, multi-layered society. So you can see the silverback's job is way more complicated than just being the boss. He's a diplomat breaking up fights, he's a guide leading the family to the best food spots, and he's a protector who will literally lay down his life for his troop. And get this, if a mother dies, he's often the one who steps up to look after her orphaned baby. But maybe the biggest secret about the silverback's power, the thing we've gotten the most wrong, has to do with mating. For decades, the assumption was just obvious, right? The biggest, strongest guy gets all the girls. It just makes sense. But does he really have a total monopoly? And here is where the old story completely falls apart. On one side, you have the old assumption, the dominant male gets 100% of the action. But on the other side, the reality that scientists have uncovered. The other males in the group, they are not just sitting around waiting. They are actively and successfully mating. So how do we know this? Well, the proof comes from incredibly detailed studies, like this landmark one from 1999 that looked at what was really going on in these multi-male troops. And what they found? Well, it completely rewrote the rulebook. Just look at this data from one of the groups. The dominant male, this guy named Zizzy, was responsible for less than half of the matings they saw, only 47%. The two subordinate males, PB and SH, actually accounted for the other 52%. This is a total game changer. It means gorilla society is not a simple dictatorship at all. It's a complex political arena where the other guys have real strategies and real opportunities to pass on their own genes. This isn't a monarchy. It's so much more dynamic than that. So, if their lives aren't just constant, brutal power struggles, what does a normal day for a gorilla actually look like? Well, the answer is surprisingly chill. A gorilla's day really breaks down into two main activities. They spend about 14 hours eating and looking for food, and the other 10 hours just resting. There's not a lot of time left over for constant drama and fighting. Their days have this really calm, synchronized rhythm. They eat together, they nap together, and every single evening, each gorilla meticulously builds themselves a brand new, clean bed out of plants to sleep in. The only ones who don't are the babies who get to sleep with mom. Okay, but what about the chest beat, that big, scary charge? Turns out, it's not really a fight. It's actually a highly structured 9-step performance. It's a display. It's all about intimidation, designed to avoid a real fight. In fact, scientists have found that 99% of these charges are pure bluff. Because the truth is, the biggest dangers a gorilla will ever face don't come from inside their own family. They come from us. Take a look at this number, 1,063.
That's it. As of the last count, that's the total estimated number of mountain gorillas left in the entire world.
The real monsters in the gorilla story aren't other gorillas. They're the hidden snares set by poachers that can maim or kill them. It's the constant clearing of their forest homes for farms and settlements. And it's diseases, even a common cold, that we can pass on to them.
Each one of these threats, poaching, habitat loss, disease, even war in the regions where they live, is devastating. But there is hope. There are amazing, dedicated people on the ground, anti-poaching patrols, community conservation programs, and even strict rules for tourism, who are all fighting to protect them.
So, where does all of this leave us? What does finally understanding the truth about these animals really mean for their future?
We've gone on this journey from a simple monster myth to the reality of a gentle, intelligent animal that lives in a complex family. And recognizing that truth, seeing them for who they really are, not just as a caricature, that is the absolute first, most essential step to making sure they have a future.
In the end, we've learned their story is so much more sophisticated, so much more social than the old myths ever let on. And so the final question, really, is for us. Now that we know better, will we act better?